I was told before I started playing Lamento, Catboys Gone Wild, that it was kind of slow and awkward at the start and that then it picks up later. Like me after I've drank a full bottle each of Robitussin and cooking sherry, and then later woke up to a man in a full-body Barney the Dinosaur costume asking me if I had seen his keys, because he needed to go down to the cellar and take the Gimp out for a walk. So, in Lamento, the Catboy Strikes Back, there was this goddess by the name of Rebecca. She laid an egg, and then later she dropped it, shattering the egg. Goddess of Butterfingers, I guess. But from that broken egg sprouted a seed, and when Rebecca sang to it, the seed reacted, and maybe I'm guessing here just from the description, that's where life is supposed to have come from. Is that what they're teaching kids in sex ed these days? No wonder the neighbors' kids are always outside yodeling at the begonias. And somehow, all this makes cat people a thing, I guess, who also happen to be named Rebecca. Then we meet the poet, who was singing to some kitty cats all about Rebecca. But we don't get to see him again for a few more hours into the game, and by then you forgot he was even there in the intro. It's okay though. I'll forgive a lot for a cute, mysterious musician. Next we meet Conway, our twink catboy protagonist whose magical powers give him too many feels. No, really. He has this superpowered empathy that makes it so he can pick up on other people's feelings and memories, so he looks into past events that he couldn't have seen otherwise. All of this leads him to shunning the company of others because it's just too painful for him to interact with other catboys. That's like if Ant-Man got so tiny that he started to get a complex about it, and then refused to ever make himself smaller again because the other boys made fun of him in the locker room. But it's also an interesting metaphor for social anxiety. The empathy power, not Ant-Man's tiny penis, that is. Representing through magical snowflake powers what it's like to never want to leave your room because just the very thought of interacting with another human being is physically painful to you. And yes, Conway does spend most of his time alone, in his empty house, thinking about his dead mother. That is except when Tokuno rolls into town. He's a trader from a big city who occasionally stops by in Conway's small village. Tokuno also happens to be the one living person Conway happens to give a shit about, and Tokuno also being the cutest, purest cinnamon roll in this game, which means of course he's not fucking romanceable. I should probably mention that in this village they eat people. They're cannibals, and not in the, oh, I know just what wine I'll have with you sort of way. There's this magical plague called the Void. It ruins everything it touches, making it somehow incompatible with this world. For example, if a tree was affected by the Void and you touched it, then just by touching it, the tree, it would cut you. Food? It's poison. People? Their organs are consumed from within by the Void. So, they eat people to survive. Also, the Void killed all the women for some reason. That reason being that it's a yaoi game and it makes the premise so much more convenient if there's no women around. So the world is pretty dark, and one day Conway starts having these bad dreams about snakes. They go in his mouth, one after another, forcing their way down his throat. But really it wasn't like that. It was kind of like how I imagine it'll be like the day I chop up my neighbor's kids and snort their pureed dehydrated remains because they kept waking me up in the morning with their shit dick singing at plants. So yeah, it was kind of dark. But after that he wakes up with tattoos and his cat ears and tail have changed from blonde to black, like a miscreant hairdresser had broken into his home at night and decided to recolor both the curtains and the carpet. And yes, I meant his pubes. But Conway loses his shit over this because, apparently, there's a prophecy of a black-haired cat coming to the world, and it'll bring about the end of the days, or something vaguely reminiscent of the story where the Dark Lord is coming to Isengard to steal all of Neo's lightsabers so they can rule in heaven with their vampire husband. Sorry, I'll be fair. All fantasy stories do that, though. Reuse tropes over and over. But tropes aren't bad, and it's not like many fantasy stories use the one where all the snakes have mouse sex with the nubile catboys. But the very next second afterwards, while Conway is still reeling from what just happened, he's told that he's scheduled to be the next sacrifice. He's going to be eaten. Maybe alive? Was never exactly clear on that point. By his asshole neighbors, that is. So Conway naturally says fuck that and sneaks out to leave through a nearby forest. That is also magical, and will trick you with illusions, forcing you to wander inside it forever, so no one ever leaves the forest alive. But then how do they know that if no one ever leaves it? Anyway, folks, that was the abridged version of episodes 1 through 13 of my Let's Play of Lamento. Peace.